In this video, I want to share with you 5 hard truths about staying Christian. So I went through a crisis of faith about 15 years ago when I lost, let's say I lost my faith in conservative evangelical Christianity. And at that time, I didn't even have words for what that was. I know now we throw around this word deconstruction a lot. That's the word that people use to describe this very painful, disjointing, uncomfortable process of losing faith. And the word, there's no clear definition, but a lot of people seem to have similar experiences that I did of discovering something, realizing that the way you were taught to see the world isn't true. Maybe you see Christianity is not true. Or also, I think part of deconstruction has to do with Christians being assholes too. So it's just kind of like a mixture of the two. So at that time, 15 years ago, when I went through this, I didn't know where I would land. And to be honest, there were a lot of days when atheist was the best way to describe me. I still have those days today. Some days I'm an agnostic. It's one of the reasons why I've been so resistant to labels, because I feel like when you go through this process, sometimes you land in a place that doesn't look anything like what you or the people around you think it should look like. But I am still comfortable identifying as a Christian. So one of the things that I realized is there are people who kind of want to make this step and come back to a much more open form of Christianity. And, it's not even clear what that's going to look like, but people want to start re-engaging with the Christian tradition. So in this video, I want to share with you 5 hard truths about staying Christian. These are things that I've learned over the last 15 years as I eventually came to the place where I once again call myself a Christian. I should say at the beginning, my name is Chris. I have a Master of Divinity, MA in Theology, PhD in Christian Origins. I was a youth pastor for 10 years. And on this channel, I talk about Christianity, ancient and modern. And today we're going modern. So 5 hard truths about staying Christian. Whether you're just ending up in a different community, whether you're kind of expanding your view of Christianity within the same community, whatever that looks like, here's a few things that I realized. Number 1, this is kind of hard to realize, but there is never going to be certainty again. You might even need to grieve certainty. You might need to get comfortable with paradox. Because I think for when I was growing up, the whole idea of what Christianity is was a certain type of cocksure certainty that I'm right, everyone else is wrong. I have the only way to heaven, everyone else doesn't. My religion is true, everyone else is false. Fill in the blanks. That's basically how I was taught to view the world. And I was taught that that's what it means to be a Christian. To be a Christian means you have the right way. When, we would say, Jesus says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me. That's exclusive. So Christianity has to be exclusive. And when I wandered back to a more inclusive or progressive form of Christianity, I realized that certainty is never coming back. There's never going to be a point where you can step back and feel as confident and certain and sure of your beliefs as you did when you were young. And that's okay. It's hard. It's tricky. I think there are days when you wish you could have that certainty back, but you're going to be living with this type of paradox for the rest of your life. And it's honestly just part of growing up. And if you look at a lot of people still in the faith, they're basically spiritual children. I still see people in my comments who are spiritual children. And when you grow up, you realize, I almost think of what does Paul say about when I was a child, thought as a child, acted as a child, but now that I've become a man, I put away childish things. It's funny because you can almost apply that to what this is, that as faith matures, as you step into a more adult faith, you might never have that certainty again. And you can get used to it because you got to live here now. That faith is not, when I was a kid, we used the word faith as the substance of things hoped for a lot, the evidence of things not seen. It's in Hebrews. And we had this idea that faith is certainty. Faith is not fucking certainty. Faith is definitely not certainty. That is the opposite of faith. Faith is being willing to be uncertain. So if you're in a faith that has all the answers, you're in the wrong faith. Welcome to the other side. Number 2, there is no perfect community, but community is all there is. And I think this applies at the denominational level. I know when a lot of people obsess about denominations, they'll be like, what denomination are you? And I see people who are like, well, yeah, I realized the Baptists were losers and now I'm a Catholic and it's the true tradition. Or I transitioned. I see a lot of former fundamentalists going to the Orthodox tradition. It's the true tradition. It's more real. It's more authentic. I'm sorry to say there's no perfect tradition. There's no perfect denomination. They're all problematic in their own way. I've attended most of those churches. Each has their own issues. And at the community level, at the level of a local church, there's no perfect church either. As one of my Hebrew Bible professors once said to me in a moment where I was really frustrated with church, he said, yeah, church is full of people and people are fucked up. Therefore, churches are fucked up. Words of wisdom from my Hebrew Bible professor, who was really cool. I don't know where he is today, but I hope he's doing well. Community at its heart is messy. And in a world where, especially conservative evangelicals, like what I was raised in, saw church as basically consumerism. Like you hop around until you find the community that fits your perfect doctrines, meets all your needs, tells you you're special, gives you the perfect blend of like rock band worship, contemporary worship with like a really cool, slick sermon that's up on a PowerPoint. When you see community as like that fundamentally existing to serve you and like you need to find the perfect place for you, that's just not the way that community operates. True community is messy. In true community, we need to be with people that we disagree with. So I would encourage you to lean into a community of some sort. Maybe it's a faith community. Maybe that doesn't even exist for you right now, but recognize that there is no perfect community, and that's okay. If you decide to join one, it's going to be an active decision to live with that imperfection. Number 3, this one is so real. You have to relearn spirituality. When I hear certain worship songs to this day, it's like freaking nails on a chalkboard. There are some songs I can't stand. There are expressions I can't stand. There's one, God help me, and I'm so sorry, as I'm recording this, Easter is coming up. And there's this thing on Easter people say. They'll go around saying, Happy Easter, he is risen. And you're supposed to say, he is risen indeed. I hate that shit. I fucking hate that shit. If this is Christianity, if it's these trite little things and these gross little songs, I don't want to be a part of that Christianity. So what happens when you leave a faith tradition, especially if it's a faith tradition that hurt you, you're not going to just be able to turn around and sing the same songs again. You're not just going to be able to use the same language again. I still get hives when I hear people saying like, can I just pray for you right now? There's an ad going around. I think it's for an app, Hallow maybe. I'm not trying to do product placement, but celebrities will come on the ad and say, hey there, can I take a quick second and pray with you? And it bugs me because I don't talk like that anymore. That's an annoying way to talk. So one of the things about relearning spirituality is it's almost like relearning a language. It's almost like finding a way to express or to engage with spirituality that doesn't give you hives. And that's an important process, especially if you're coming out of an abusive, manipulative, damaging tradition. And I mean, that's going to be different things for different people. For me, this is very typical of former evangelical conservatives, but I did fall in love with liturgy because it's the total opposite of the worship band stuff that I grew up in. I still don't mind. I've actually, as recently as this year, played in a worship band. I enjoy playing the music, but I don't really like being the person in the pews with my hands up. But that's just me. I mean, maybe you're the opposite. Maybe you came from liturgy, you're going the other way. I don't know. But you need to find a way to speak Christian. It's like a language. You need to find a way to express spirituality that's not gross to you. And one of the other things for me, I've talked about a lot in other videos, is being contemplative. For me, finding contemplative prayer or just recognizing different sides of the Christian experience that I didn't know before have also been really meaningful. So when I discover things that don't have the baggage attached to it, it's been really awesome. And that's been probably one of the best things for me in my journey to potentially stay Christian. Number 4, you might see the Bible as the problem, not the answer. And I remember somebody saying this to me once about how Jews read their Bible. And this person said, you know, the thing is that Christians see the Bible as the answer, Jews see the Bible as the problem. That is a huge generalization. I'm not sure it holds up, but it's a good starting point. I think there's something kind of true there, that a lot of modern evangelical fundamentalist conservative Christians see the Bible as the place we go to get the answers. And I think there's a long tradition in the Jewish tradition, and especially when you look at like all the different the Mishnah and you look at the different the Targums, the different interpretive traditions. The Jewish tradition, you have thousands of years of people just legitimately wrestling with the text, being like, this sucks, what does this mean? And I think that's kind of an interesting way to approach the Bible too, rather than seeing it as the magic book that has all the answers, to be like, we say this book is important to us. It's obviously been important for the Christian tradition. It's also full of errors. It's also full of some horrifying, horrendous shit that we don't want to follow or replicate. So how do we actually engage with scriptures in a world that we can see a lot of where these came from and how they developed, and we don't really have the same kind of mythological framework that they did. We don't necessarily have the same cosmological framework, psychological framework, fill in the blanks. So you almost need to come up with a new way to see the Bible. And that's one of the reasons I do this channel, because I love studying the Bible as a real Bible scholar, as somebody who is trained to do this. I'm willing to ask any question of the Bible. And I think that is what is demanded of us if we're looking for truth, that there's nothing off the table. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I can be really critical of like the letters of Paul, but let's not touch those like resurrection narratives. I'm going to ask every question there is, because I think that's a part of engaging with the tradition. Contrary to what I think a lot of people may think, questioning the Bible, questioning historicity, questioning the infallibility of the Bible, the inerrancy of the Bible to very modern beliefs that I reject, contrary to what a lot of people think, questioning those does not mean rejecting Christianity. I would actually like to see that as a healthy part of the Christian tradition. The final hard truth about staying Christian is that you might always be liminal. Why is it that I sometimes have an easier time connecting with people who call themselves atheists than with people who call themselves Christians? Or how come I just don't care? How come I don't really care, but I'll talk to anybody? I think one of the things about staying in Christianity is that you kind of recognize, especially like I was raised to see insiders and outsiders. Everything was about who's in, who's out, who's checked the box, who hasn't, who's saved, who's not saved. And I mean, maybe that as soteriology, maybe that works. I don't know. I'm not God. I can't see people's, that I can't see the situation of people's souls. But what I can do is see that, as I said in a recent video, atheists have a point. They have some stuff they say that makes a lot of sense to me and checks out, and I think is worth listening to. But at the same time, maybe Christians say some things that are worth listening to as well. So maybe being a human is more complicated than just being like, which team do I play for? And like going to bat for that team all the time. Maybe we should exist in community, in a bigger community, and be willing to wrestle with some of this stuff. And it's hard. Being in between is hard. People want to label you. People want to be like, what are you? Are you atheist? Are you Christian? Are you agnostic? Like, we have all these labels, and people just want to put you in the box and be like, are you in my category or not? Are you with me or against me? Are you like, this is just kind of the way we as humans view the world. And I think anthropologically, it's probably inevitable, but it's also really damaging. And if you want to stay Christian, I would encourage you that you're not just looking for a new sports team to join. You're not just looking for the new social club to belong to. It's a position of viewing the world that should come with a lot of liminality, that you're almost in between a lot of groups of people and willing to kind of engage with anybody. To me, that's been like the most rewarding thing of saying like, I'm a Christian, but I will happily have a conversation maybe that I agree with an atheist and debate another Christian. Like, I don't care, because at the end of the day, this is all part of the human experience. We are all humans. Whatever other box you think you might fit into, or I might fit into, we are all humans. We have a long, proud history in Christianity of approaching the world as black and white, our way or the highway. And I think I would very much like to be a part of a new brand, new breed of Christianity, a new type of Christian that is perfectly willing to not have everything in these binaries between black and white, that we can actually see the world has, I'm not going to say 50 shades of gray, but there's a lot of shades of gray in the world, and that's okay. So those are just a few of my reflections on some hard truths about staying Christian, things that I've learned, things that I'm still sometimes unpacking. I hope they're helpful to you if you're considering staying in the Christian tradition. I hope they resonate with you. Let me know if they don't, if you disagree. As always, feel free to include a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about this. Love to know what you think. Do take a minute and subscribe if you haven't done that already. I do lots of videos on ancient Christianity and modern Christianity, the whole spectrum. I just talk about anything that interests me as part of being in this tradition. Do also join my mailing list. I have a link down below to my website and email list, so please do subscribe. You can keep up to date on what's going on here, and including some new videos, and you can always email me as well. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Really appreciate it. I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time.